This week we're looking at the Pohutukawa, which is the New Zealand Christmas tree, because it flowers around about Christmas time here, around about the sort of early December, and it's looking quite magnificent at the moment. The Pohutukawa, also known as Metrosideros excelsa, Metrosideros meaning ironwood because the bark is solid, and excelsa meaning tall. Now, there are a few different varieties, native varieties of Metrosideros that naturally occur in New Zealand. Metrosideros excelsa is the most well-known one, but we've got Metrosideros robusta, which is the northern rata, which is an epiphyte, which grows in the tops of trees and then sends roots down and then kind of like grows up and around it. We've got Metrosideros umbellata, southern rata, the Kermadec Pohutukawa, the smaller leaves from the Kermadec Islands, and Metrosideros bartletti, which is quite a critically endangered species in New Zealand, and so they're starting to cultivate that in their shops here. You can see it here. This is the one here. The bartletti has white flowers, and it is semi-epiphytic too, but obviously if it's planted like this in the ground, it will grow more as a tree. So Pohutukawas are a reasonable sized tree, and they have, if we start off with the root systems can be quite invasive. So if you're going to plant them away a little bit away from anything like septic or sewage lines, because these roots can kind of find out those things, and they can sort of push up paths. And so I'd recommend, and this is part of the reason why they are so good on coastal cliffs, because they will hold the cliff together. You can see there the bark of the tree was used by Maoris in an infusion for dysentery and diarrhea, and there is some acid in there that is actually proven to be useful for that. And of course the plants themselves, when they're in flower, are just a haven for things like tuis, which come and pollinate the flowers and help to produce the next lot of seed, viable seed. The leaves kind of oval in shape and have sort of more of a white felty, so especially on the new growth, a white felty look. And the flowers were again used by Maoris for a source of sweet nectar, and of course, like I said, it was very helpful for the native birds. And so you can see Pohutukawas planted throughout Auckland, especially where it's a bit warmer. They are a bit intolerant when they're younger, especially the young growth. So you have to sort of wait a little bit before they get a bit mature, before they get that sort of a little bit tougher. But you can see they look really magnificent. There's a couple of different varieties out there that I tend to sort of recommend. One's called Maori Princess, which has a single trunk. So if you have a look at this one here, it's got quite a multi-branch trunk at the bottom, but this one here has got more of a single trunk, and that's a variety called Maori Princess, which forms this nice specimen, and quite often used as a street tree as well. They're from the Myrtaceae family, and you can see this is some of the older seed capsules. Now the seed inside those capsules is a very fine, sort of almost like a yellow dust, and the seed is quite viable. As you can sort of see here, this is in my own garden. It's just a little seed that sort of sprouted up on the side of the punga, and I never planted that. That's just sort of self-seeded. And again with this one here, this is by the clothesline, so I'll need to keep this one trimmed. This one just self-seeded also. In some countries overseas, they have become a little bit invasive, like in California. So you have to be a little bit careful, I guess, if you're in those countries planting these, as they might affect your own native sort of species. So in landscaping uses, you can see here they've used some lamandra grasses underneath, mass planted, and a single trunked form, probably something like Maori Princess. And this is a grey lamandra, could be something like frosty tops, or Nyala is another kind of greyish looking lamandra, and that looked quite effective, I thought. And here's another native planting. This is the Ranga lily, Arthropodium serratum, and this is at Auckland Botanic Gardens, where you can see it's been mass planted with the Ranga lily underneath, and you've got the Pohutukawa and the grey stone schist walling. Another planting here with the Farfugium giganticum, and this is with Farfugium and also the Coprosma Pohutukawa. If we come around a little bit further, we'll see Coprosma Pohutukawa, and that's again at Botanic Gardens, where they've just mass planted underneath the Pohutukawas. So this sort of shows you kind of like a more of a natural kind of planting where you can see it's not in flower, but it still looks quite a reasonable plant with cabbage trees there and gracillinias. This is coming up a pathway of natural and native plantings. They do get a couple of diseases, and one of them is myrtle rust, which I'll just quickly show you a picture. It's a sort of yellowy rust that does affect most of the Myrtaceae type families. So things like callistemons and eucalyptus do get affected by this, and that has sort of become a little bit of a problem. The other insect pest that they also get is a thing called a psyllid, which is a small insect, sort of almost like a scale that grows on the underneath of the leaf, and we'll call these little blisters, almost like pimples. Now, it generally just occurs on the younger leaves, so it's nothing to be too concerned about because the plant will tend to grow out of it. This is not a Pohutukawa, but this was just a Eugenia. It's sort of from the Myrtaceae family. And then we'll just leave this video now just with some more shots of the Pohutukawa. Okay guys, we're going to leave it there, and hopefully you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you in the next video.